Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really zeroing in on Microsoft's latest financial performance.
Yeah, Q3 fiscal 25. There's a lot to unpack.
Definitely. We've got quite a bit to work with here. The official press release, their financial slides, the earnings call transcript.
An AI news piece analyzing it all, and even a Reddit thread,
All right.
right, to see the immediate reaction.
Exactly. So our mission really is to pull all that together for you, find the key insights, figure out what's driving their success right now, and, what the analysts are saying.
And that immediate reaction was pretty telling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The stock jumped, what was it, about 8.5%?
Yeah, around 8.5%. That Reddit discussion definitely caught that buzz. Tells you the market liked what it heard.
For sure. So where should we start? The headline numbers.
Let's do it. Straight from the press release. Third quarter fiscal year 25 ended March 31st. Revenue, $70.1 billion.
Which is up 13% year over year. Pretty solid.
Right. And they also give that constant currency number, taking out exchange rate swings.
Right. Makes it a cleaner comparison.
And that was even stronger, 15% growth.
Okay. What about income?
Operating income hit $32 billion. That's a 16% increase.
16%.
Oh, yeah.
On constant currency.
19%.
Wow. Okay.
And net income followed suit. $25.8 billion, up 18%.
Or 19% constant currency, I'm guessing.
You got it. And earnings per share, the diluted figure, $3.46, also up 18% or 19% constant currency.
So, really strong growth across the board there. No weak spots in the headline figures.
Not really. And what's striking is how consistent the message was from the top brass, Satya Nadella, the CEO, and Amy Hood, the CFO.
Right. They both pointed straight at cloud and AI, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
Nadella had that quote, something like, cloud and AI are the essential inputs for every business.
To expand output, reduce costs, and accelerate growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really sets the stage for their whole strategy.
Absolutely. So let's break that down. Microsoft Cloud first.
Makes sense. It's the biggest piece.
Okay, so 22%. Amy had mentioned continued demand for their differentiated offerings as the key.
Right. And the profitability, the gross margin for Microsoft Cloud. That was interesting, too.
Oh, yeah. What was the figure?
69%. Which is, obviously very healthy.
69, okay.
But it was actually down slightly compared to last year. And the reason they gave...
Let me guess. AI investment.
Exactly. Scaling that AI infrastructure costs money. So you see that investment reflected in the margin, even with strong revenue growth.
That makes sense. You got to spend to build that capacity. Okay, let's go deeper. Intelligent cloud that includes Azure, right?
Correct. Azure's in there. That segment brought in $26.8 billion. Up 21%.
21% or 22% constant currency. And within that, server products and cloud services.
Those were up 22% or 24% constant currency.
Okay, keep going.
But the real kicker is Azure itself and their other cloud services. That revenue grew 33%.
33%.
Or 35% in constant currency.
Wow.
But here's the number that really jumped out from Amy Hood on the call, and that AI news article picked it up too.
Yeah.
16 percentage points of that Azure growth came directly from AI services.
Not 16% of the growth, but 16 points added to the growth rate.
Exactly. 16 points out of the total 33% or 35% growth. It's a massive chunk.
Wow. Okay, that really highlights the AI impact, doesn't it? It's not just talk, it's driving serious revenue.
It really is. Shows companies are actively using Azure for AI, not just kicking the tires.
Incredible. Okay, let's shift gears. Productivity and business processes. This is the Microsoft 365 LinkedIn territory.
Right. That segment pulled in $29.9 billion. Growth was 10%.
10% or 13% constant currency. And the commercial side, Microsoft 365 for businesses.
That was up 11% or 14% constant currency. And the commercial cloud part specifically, up 12% or 15% constant currency. Steady growth there.
And the consumer side, Microsoft 365 for individuals.
Also grew. 10% increase, 12% constant currency. They mentioned subscription growth, hitting 87.7 million subs.
87.7 million. That's a lot of subscribers, probably helped by that price increase they had.
Could be. And LinkedIn was also up. 7% revenue growth or 8% constant currency.
Okay, 7 or 8%.
Yeah, though they did mention on the call that the talent solutions part, the hiring side of LinkedIn, is still seeing some softness because of the job market.
Ah, right. So that growth is despite that headwind. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And the Dynamics part, their business applications also did well, up 11% or 13% constant currency overall.
And Dynamics 365 specifically.
Even stronger, 16% growth or 18% constant currency. So business apps are looking good too.
Okay, one more big segment, more personal computing. This is Windows, Xbox, search ads.
Yep, that came in at $13.4 billion. Revenue up 6% or 7% constant currency.
6 or 7%. And drilling down, Windows OEM and devices. That's the licenses for new PCs, right?
Right. That was up just 3%. They mentioned some tariff uncertainty might have caused higher inventory levels,
Mm-hmm.
maybe putting a bit of a damper on it.
Okay, 3%. What about gaming?
Xbox.
The Xbox content and services revenue look pretty good, up 8% or 9% constant currency.
What drove that?
Game Pass subscriptions, Call of Duty doing well, Minecraft, the usual suspects. But Xbox hardware revenue is actually down.
Ah, okay. So software and services up, hardware down. Got it.
But the really eye-popping number in this segment, I thought, was search and news advertising.
Oh, yeah. Excluding the traffic acquisition costs, right?
Exactly, TAC-X. That revenue jumped 21%.
21. That's huge for search ads.
Or 23% constant currency. They pointed to a new third-party partnership, but also just better rates and volume, maybe helped by AI integration in Bing and Edge.
Seems likely, yeah. That's impressive growth there. And it just brings us back, doesn't it, to the central theme, AI. AI integration, AI investment.
Absolutely. That OpenTools AI news piece really hammered that home, the AI-powered cloud, is fueling this surge.
And they're not messing around with investment. That $80 billion planned capital expenditure for fiscal 25.
$80 billion. That's just monumental.
It really is purely focused on building and optimizing data centers for AI. It shows you the scale of their ambition. It's like, building the entire national highway system just for AI traffic.
That's a good analogy. And Satya Nadella talked about the pace, right? AI models doubling in performance every 6 months or so.
Yeah, and how they're optimizing everything from the data center design down to the silicon, the software.
And they're building everywhere. He mentioned launching data centers in 10 countries, 4 continents, just this last quarter.
Yeah, the global rollout is massive.
And the AI isn't just infrastructure, it's baked into the products now.
Totally. Azure AI services, obviously. But GitHub Copilot, over 15 million users now. That's more than 4x growth year over year.
15 million developers using their AI assistant. Wow.
And Microsoft 365 Copilot, now hundreds of thousands of customers, up 3x. Plus, users created over 1 million custom agents in Copilot Studio this quarter.
Putting the tools right in users' hands.
Mm-hmm. And Amy Hood said AI revenue was, again, better than they expected internally.
So the AI bet is clearly paying off, financially speaking.
Seems that way. And outside analysts seem to agree, mostly.
Right. What are the experts saying? You mentioned Bernstein.
Yeah, Mark Mordler at Bernstein. He highlighted that strong 35% constant currency Azure growth. And interestingly, he noted that the non-AI part of Azure seems to be stabilizing,
Okay.
while the AI services like Copilot are adding that extra layer of significant growth on top. So a healthy core plus the AI accelerator.
That sounds like a good position to be in. Any other analysts?
Ben Reitz's at Melius Research basically said, look, Microsoft keeps delivering this mid-teens overall revenue growth. Azure's powering it, and that justifies the stock's premium price.
Makes sense. Consistent performance earns that valuation.
And even, the Reddit chatter reflected that positive take right after the earnings.
Mm-hmm.
People were impressed.
Yeah. Now, there was that little blip about data center lease cancellations, wasn't there? Some concern about demand.
Right, there were some reports.
Yeah.
But Microsoft addressed it, said it was just part of their normal optimization, rejigging things, not a sign they'd overestimated AI demand. The Financial Times reported on that clarification.
Okay, so they smoothed that over. Yeah. What about looking ahead? Did they give guidance for Q4?
They did. For productivity and business processes, they expect revenue between $32.05 and $32.35 billion. That's about 11-12% growth, constant currency.
11 to 12%. Okay. And intelligent cloud, the big one.
Projected between $28.75 and $29.05 billion. That's 22% growth constant currency.
Still very strong, and Azure specifically.
You expect Azure growth to stay really high, between 34 and 35% in constant currency for Q4.
34 to 35%. Still accelerating or holding strong there. Wow.
Yeah. More personal computing, they guided $12.35 to $12.85 billion. And they also mentioned CapEx for fiscal 26.
The spending for next year.
Yeah, they expect it to still grow, still be significant, but maybe at a lower rate than the huge jump in FY25. And more focus on shorter-lived assets.
Interesting. Managing the investment pace a bit. And finally, shareholder returns, always important.
Yep. Returned $9.7 billion to shareholders this quarter. Dividends and buybacks, that's up 15% from last year.
Okay, $9.7 billion back to investors. So wrapping it all up, the takeaway seems pretty clear, doesn't it?
I think so. Strong Q3, cloud, and especially AI are absolutely the stars of the show. Azure's growth with that massive AI contribution is just undeniable.
Right. And they're pouring money into building the future AI infrastructure, weaving AI into everything.
Mm.
And the market, the analysts, they seem to be buying into that vision.
Yeah, the optimism is definitely there.
Absolutely. Which, it leaves you with a pretty big thought to chew on.
Yeah.
When you see this level of investment, this pace of AI development from a giant like Microsoft, how is this going to reshape, well, everything?
Not just the tech industry, right?
Exactly. But how businesses run, how we all interact with tech day to day, what new doors does this open, and, what challenges might pop up that we haven't even thought of yet.
It's a massive transformation underway, driven by this AI focus. Lots to watch.
Definitely a lot to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.